So for this first week, uh, we're in our lesson 1 block, and we're going to go ahead and open that up. The overview basically goes through everything that we're going to complete this week. So it's kind of like your to-do list. And it typically matches with the schedule that is in the syllabus. So in our syllabus, if you scroll to the bottom, okay, you will see that we have a course assignment schedule and the modules in Canvas uh, will line up to what you see here. And then the activities for each week are going to be what is listed below each lesson. Okay, so we are on the first week, which is the orientation and C-sharp review. And so a lot of these little tasks you probably are going to have done, uh, but make sure, at least when you go into Visual Studio, that you check for updates because it's a good idea to keep the program updated. And how do you do that? Well, I'm going to pull it over here and show you. So if you already have it installed, which you probably do from last semester, to check for updates. Let's see. How I normally get in there is I go to Tools and I use Get Tools and Features. This actually would let you install additional features, but you can also use it to install for updates. So first, it's going to show you everything you have installed. Okay, and we close out of that. This is where you see the updates. So I've never come in here where an update wasn't available. So it looks like I need to update mine, but I'm not going to do it right this second. But make sure that you have completed the update uh, because sometimes if you don't, things can get a little wonky in Visual Studio. Okay, so even if you have installed, make sure you do that update. And in this class, you are going to need a GitHub account. I think you probably will have that from a previous class, but if you don't, you'll need to create a new account. It's free. And then you just need to log in and submit a screenshot. You'll also have to do a screenshot of your Visual Studio installation. For those of you that are on Macs, you will need to use VS Code. So you'll have to do a screenshot of that. And for the Mac users, when we get to the end of the semester and we are working on Razor pages, those are a .NET framework and you will need to use Visual Studio. So you are not going to be able to do those exercises on the Mac. So I'm just kind of giving you a heads up on that part of the curriculum. So back to our modules. Overview is going to tell you everything that we're working on. And for this first lesson, I do have a Canvas overview, which basically describes everything that is turned on over here. So you're probably going to want to watch that. And then below that, you will see a link for this one. Under the orientation assignments, we have a syllabus quiz. And you can take that an unlimited number of times. So you are going to want to pull up not only the course syllabus, but the college syllabus. Um, the college syllabus is the same for all courses. So if you have already read through that, you're good. Our syllabus is listed here. At the top, I have my live stream office hours. And as you all know, we also have a live stream class. And online students are welcome to attend, and anybody is welcome in the office hours. Now, how do you access those? In the home page, I have a live stream link. Okay, and you click on that and it opens up Zoom. So that is probably the fastest, easiest way for you guys to get into the class and also to get into the office hours. And as long as we're looking at our homepage, the announcements, the most recent one is at the top, but you're not going to be able to see it all, so you're going to have to click on it. You can get to all the announcements using the announcement button. And then I included a couple of social media links where we post different CIT events, internships, and that kind of thing. Then at the bottom here are course links. These are different sites that I thought may be useful to you. Okay, so just different resource sites. Over on the right, these are upcoming assignments. And you can see the due dates for these and the points associated with each of them. Okay, and we're going to take another look at that syllabus. Okay, so at the top of the syllabus, we have the office hours, a little description of our course. As far as a textbook, we are using web resources and my lecture demos. For software, PC users will be using Visual Studio 2022, which is free. Mac users, you will be able to use VS Code and your Mac for 3/4 of the course. You will not be able to use it for Razor Pages. Razor Pages is a full stack web application, and you can create it on the Mac, but you cannot create the back end database using code first technology, which is what we are using. I mean, there's a workaround using Docker containerization where you actually have to create the database separately. And then you have to put all of your code files into the container. And this is just beyond the scope of this class. Okay? So the workaround honestly would be more complicated than the Razor pages themselves. So what you're going to want to do is, either find a computer parent friend PC that you can use, or visit the computer lab, and it would be the Osterlin Student Success Lab that has the business computers, and you need to use a business computer because that has the correct software for you. And I did include a link to the computer lab hours. And then as far as our general education outcome, we assess critical thinking in here, which kind of makes sense for CIT classes. The learning outcomes are kind of more broad, and they describe what you're going to know by the end of the semester, and then how I am going to be assessing whether you have that knowledge or not. As far as grading goes, the only way you really learn is through hands-on. So, we read about, the different object-oriented concepts and techniques, and then you use them. And so we have 15 lab assignments in here, and we also have a final project. I did include the understanding checks that we used in the 110 class because people seem to like those. And that ensures that you understand the reading material, and also it prepares you for certification exams because the types of questions that you see in those understanding checks are similar to what you're going to see in all of the IT specialist certification exams. So we have understanding checks every week, and we don't have a midterm, but we do have a final exam. The understanding checks you can do an unlimited number of times. The final exam, you will also be able to do multiple times. And there's a feature in Canvas that I've turned on where each attempt builds on the previous one, which is really nice because you don't have to answer all the questions you got correct. On subsequent attempts, you only have to answer questions that you missed. Um, in addition to that, we have some orientation activities and discussion exercises. And the discussion exercises in this class are kind of geared towards meeting some of these learning outcomes that there's really no other way for me to determine if you have, accomplished this outcome or not. So we use discussion to support some of these outcomes. As far as the grading scale, we use percentages in here. So 95 to 100% is a 4.0, 90 to 94 is a 3.5, et cetera. We have 1,000 points. And so this is how those points break down. And for those of you who've had me before, you do know that if you are close to that cutoff point, meaning, let's say you're sitting at 900 or 845, right? And you needed to get to 850. I will round up your score and give you the higher grade if you're within 10 points. All of the assignments have due dates. The assignments, the projects, the discussions, understanding checks, all of them have due dates. Where do you see the due dates? You will see them. Well, first of all, you could see them up here in home over on the right-hand side. Any published assignment that you have not completed shows up here. You will also see them under the modules. Okay? It shows you when things are due and how many points. You can also see them in grades. And grades is only going to show the published assignments. So obviously we have more than one module in this course. So as I publish additional modules, you will start to see more assignments display. But this will show you what the total is, and it'll also show you, once I correct it, how many points you have. And typically, I always comment on your assignments. So, if you got all the points, you get a good job, that kind of thing. But if you miss points, and that typically happens in lab assignments, you want to read those comments because if you turn the assignment in on time, then you have the opportunity of fixing the errors and resubmitting. Okay, so if you've turned that assignment in on time, make sure you read the comments because you will be able to resubmit that. So that is another place where you can see due dates and what you got on your assignments. You can also go out to the calendar. And the calendar, I think the agenda is probably the most useful because that will show you, what you have to do. And as you submit things to the drop boxes, it actually crosses things out. So I think that is super useful. And if you have multiple courses, what's nice is that you can actually turn off a course and turn on another course and see what's due. So that's kind of a cool feature. Let's see. We will go back into our syllabus. As far as the weekly workload goes, there's going to be an overview at the top of every module that you're going to want to look at because that kind of gives you the game plan for the week. Then you're going to proceed with the web reading assignment. Then you'll go through the key concept lecture demo, and there are tons of coding examples in those and videos that you can watch. You'll do the understanding check. And then you will, if there's a discussion exercise, you'll do the discussion. But we don't have discussions every week. So you'll have to kind of look. I tend to put discussions in weeks that are a little easier. I don't try to overload you guys in weeks that are a little harder. And then finally, you'll do the lab assignment. As far as the rest of the syllabus, I think I'll let you kind of read through this because there is a quiz on this syllabus. Um, the course assignment schedule I already mentioned, but that does go through each lesson and kind of gives you an overview of what we are going to be covering. Also shows you when spring break is. So after you read the syllabus, you are going to do the syllabus quiz, which you can take an unlimited number of times. Okay? It is due on January 20th. Then you'll go in and introduce yourself to the class, and you'll see that there's an introduction from me there. So if I make you guys do something, I typically do it myself as well. So um, just post what you're comfortable with. And then you want to make sure you've got Visual Studio installed, or if you're a Mac user, you need VS Code. And then you will log in and just do a screenshot. And so there's instructions here. And if you can't remember how to do a screenshot, I think I have links. If you can't remember, let me know because I can give you a link that will show you or tell you how to do it. Let's see. You also need a GitHub repository. So you go to GitHub, you'll log in, and then if you select your repositories, once you start pushing your assignments to GitHub, that is where they will all be located. Okay. And I can quick show you. I mean, I have a lot of them. You are not going to have nearly as many. And I'm already logged in. So if I just click on my little picture here and I go to my repositories, okay, you can see that these are all my repositories. And I have a lot. So to turn something in, you basically, first of all, it has to be public. So if it says private like this, that's a problem because I won't be able to see it. It needs to say public. Okay. And so once you make sure it says public, you can just select it, click on the URL, copy it, and paste it into the Dropbox. And for me to give you points for GitHub, you basically just need to give me the URL of your repository. And so as long as you give me your URL, and really all that is if you click on your picture and you go to your repositories, just give me this URL. And copy this. Okay. You can either copy this and paste it, or you can do a screenshot, whichever one you want. But it just shows me that you have a GitHub account. Hey, once you finish that, and these are just kind of housekeeping things, then we get into the web readings. So this is a review of the 110 class. And we're not reviewing classes because we will be reviewing those next week. So it's kind of a review of everything else. And then here is the lecture demo. And so these are links to each section. So if there's a particular section you want to review, you can click the link. And then at the top of each section is a video that explains the information. And then once you finish that, you can go in and do the understanding check, which you can do an unlimited number of times, followed by the lab assignment. So the lab assignment you are going to need to push to GitHub, which is actually very easy in Visual Studio. So for those of you using Visual Studio, this first video I actually included, um, how to push it up. These videos explain each of the exercises you're going to be working on. This actually shows you how to, create a Git repository inside Visual Studio, and then, how to push that up. It's super easy. Okay. If you are a Mac user, it is not going to be quite as easy. You are going to need to use the GitHub command line. And I set these instructions up actually for a Mac user that was in a different class, but the procedure is going to be the same for this class. And this actually worked out really well. And I think that this will also work for you. So this is the procedure you're going to need to go through to get things on GitHub. And if you need help, just let me know. It is a procedure that we follow when we're doing work in teams in our 218 class. Okay, so it is something that everybody will eventually have to do as well. So that is the assignment for exercises, and I'm giving you quite a bit of the code, so I don't think it's going to be too taxing. I think probably the nerve-wracking part for some of you will be getting it all up on GitHub. And if you guys run into problems, just please reach out because I'm happy to meet with you and help you. Also, if it's the due date and you still can't get it up on GitHub, um, you can just throw it, upload it to the Dropbox because I'm allowing that as well for this assignment. But then you're going to need to get with me so we can figure out why, the whole GitHub thing isn't working for you. Under resources, this is a little review of how to create and run an app in Visual Studio. It's a review from 110. This little GitHub tutorial is actually from GitHub. Okay, so that is a little bit more detailed tutorial. This is the alternate way of staging and committing that I just showed you, from the command line. And then here again is the GitHub instructions for submitting assignments. Okay, so that is our first week. It's kind of getting everything set up, refreshing your memory on C# and working with GitHub. So if you guys have any questions or if you run into problems, please let me know and have an awesome week.